Hello to all and welcome to follow-up video 2 on the cleaning, resetting up of this Ibanez 350DXZ that I got in trade recently. First up, I will let's talk about people were coming up with a suggestion for a color replacement. And when my mom passed away, again, like I said, I had bought in some nail polish to do her nails for her. And this was one of them I got. And you can kind of see it says Purple Glam. So it kind of has a similar matching color. So I did a few test spots, the one area here, and you can see it really kind of doesn't match up well. And I also did it here. And as you can kind of see there, it kind of comes out a little. Flip it around this way, you can see better. Kind of comes out more bluish than purple, a metallic purple, like long distance away you can still see it. So on the larger spot, it's definitely not going to be a doable option. So, which is sad because, I mean, it almost is the same color. Almost. There's just a slight blue tinge to it. So, I definitely going to have to find a violet. So, it's a slight bit of a fail, but also at the same time gives me a good idea on what it'll look like. So, dirt smudge there. So again, this is 2 nights later. You can see my cruddy, dirty, not dirty, but disorganized futon in the back. So we're going to recondition the fretboard and get the crappy strings off and get the new strings on. So, what will you need to do such a thing? Well, return to the blue shop towel. A package of strings, which in this case is again my second set of 9-42 Ernie Ball Slinky Cobalts. Some form of a wire snipper. String winder in most instances. A multi-hex tool. This one's actually a El Cheapo Stanley, which has served me pretty well through the years. You can kind of see the tips are a little bit kind of gone to silver from the black that they are. So this is especially important since most of the things I'll be working with are non-screwdriver related. So also as well, you will need something to condition your fretboard with. And again, I make the suggestions of, a former YouTuber I used to follow and semi-associate with. But the Howard's Feed and Wax, Beeswax, and Orange Oil does an awesome job on ebony and very similar rosewood similar fretboards. And last but not least, you will need something to put under your trim so it doesn't drop. So, go to your local dollar store and you can get one of these gigantic erasers that are not only good to use as a trim block, but also double up well for when you're wanting to sand and sand on curves. Again, suggestion that somebody has made over the years on the channels. So, with that said, try to slowly get it in there. Or in this instance, not. I mean, at the end of the day, we want something that's going to be in there to hold it at the right level. So, in that instance, maybe it's something as simple as a pen. Or we use the pen as leverage. To get the eraser in. Ah. You know what? We'll do away with this, and we will do away with the pen. And just never mind it for the time being. Use it as a proper setup. So, first thing we want to do is obviously get the other strings off. For that, we must find the appropriate hex. In this case, it is the 3mm that we will be using to unloosen the spring retainer, which has moved very easily. A little sloppy, actually. Ooh, as soon as I did that one, that made it slop. So, again, our locking nuts undone. Now let's move on to our strings, which in this case we've got little lock mechanisms here at the back of the I believe this is an edge 2 trim. So we will simply start by it doesn't sound exactly too great. Boom. So this is going to totally deck the trim against the body. Alright, good enough. Now let's see if our number 3 hex will actually be the thing needed for this. And yes, indeed. That's never a good sound. But so like these haven't been done in a while, which actually wouldn't be surprising. Wow, bling. That popped out like nothing. So, 3 hex key is probably ideal for a lot of these situations. I think it's also a hex, yeah, would work in this situation as well too. So there are the old yucky strings. Let's flip the guitar around and look in camera, or actually even better, ta-da! Yeah. Give us a proper view. So let's get some of these old rusty ass strings off of this. Someone executing the proper, doing the half turn thing, whoever put the strings on this. And okay, now I'll actually pull up through the nut. Get that real action. So, how bad were these strings? Well, to give you an idea on how bad they were, I don't know if this person had it in a really bad storage space or whatnot, but yeah, you can see the nice bit of rust, especially back here. You know your strings need a change when you got all kinds of lovely yucky bits of rust and brownness going on over them. Yeah. So off they go. And let me just say, you can smell the rust and nastiness on them. Heck, even on the tip of my fingertips, you can kind of see a little bit of brownness. So to the recycling we go. Oh. So while we're back in here, let's finally clean up around the tuners and clean in the truss rod slot just to be careful. Now, as you've seen in the previous video, we've already given the fretboard a good rub. I did forget something else here. Pretty important. So I will have to actually run back to my downstairs and grab it. But for now, let's focus on getting in front of the tuners and whatnot, clean around the headstock. Since it does have the yucky kind of there's the headstock a bit better cleaned, and also we will then take a Q-tip, dampen it with the isopropylene, and get in here and give it a good kind of cleaning as well. So now we got the isopropylene cleaning out of the way. I'm going to run back downstairs and get the one set of items that I needed. So I will be right back. And as you can hear, I am back, and as you can see by my lovely hand. So, one of the things I forgot to bring up with me is, again, you can get these off of pretty much Amazon, solo guitar music. And depending on the grit and the amount of erasers you get, you probably are paying around, let's say about 20 to 30 US. And it's a kit of these fretboard erasers. You got 180 grit, 1600. You can see I don't really use the 180 grit much. So usually the 600, as you can see, is pretty chonked up. And the 1000, which also has a little bit. So we're going to give these, before I do the wax on the, before I do the fretboard waxing, give this a little look. Not a whole lot of damage, but we will give it a quick rub down with the fret erasers, just to give them a little polish up. And right away, even using the 600, the darkness is coming off of the tops. I'll stop here at 12th fret so you can see. So there's the early frets, and you can see at the top, the top ones definitely have more of a shine to them, or at least hopefully they should have more of a shine. So we will, as I bang the headstock around against my computer desk. These are definitely grungy, and you can see the lines, even in the inlays here, you can see the string lines. So again, we'll get the back side, just a quick little rub with the 600. Again, just a disclaimer, I am not a professional repair person. I am not a professional luthier. I'm just a hobbyist who has picked up the knowledge to be able to do some of this stuff. While not perfect, how I do it is sufficient. And at the end of the day, as long as you're not harming your guitar, there's no reason why you shouldn't be able to do something yourself. And again, if you don't feel confident to work on your instrument, definitely take it to a local music store, whether it be a small chain or a large chain, that if they do have a guitar tech on call, they can help you with getting your guitar set up. And a guitar setup, depending on including strings or whatnot, can be anywhere from as cheap as $50 to upwards of $200, depending on where you're getting it done and what you're getting done. Usually on the higher end, usually the person will have had to have actually done some actual higher end fret work to your frets, include a string change, put a new set of strings on. So now we'll move from the, as you can see here, how dark and cruddy it is. We'll move to the 1000 grit eraser, and since we got this, we'll just go over it just to get some of the, to give you an idea. That's how much crud just came off. That's just like excess rust build up on the frets. So what we'll do this time around is again the same thing. Come from the one side, each one, just give it a quick pass. Again, you don't have to rush to do this. You can take your time and do it. You know. It's all at your own pace. Again, just as long as you're not screwing up your guitar and making it unplayable, that's all that matters. And make sure you're doing it that everything is even, because you don't want to do it unevenly. Okay, now back the other way. And lastly, we will just simply rub across the frets. In this case, I'm going over the frets probably about 2 times. Now, hopefully, you can see fretboard has, or the frets should have a little bit more of a shine to them. And just for argument's sake, let's give them once. These ones down at the bottom here feel very kind of smooth and slippery. Not that I ever go past the 20th fret much, but still. And probably the last thing I'll do is just run the fret eraser here on the ends of the nibs to give them a little shine and polish up. Not necessary, but hey, it never hurts to give them a little attention as well too, because it can actually transfer over to the rest of the frets. So our 1000 grit fret eraser rubber done. And camera 2, and now in the main. See the nice shiny fret. Just that's the shiny fret. So shiny fret out of the way, and let's pull that back just a little bit out of the way. So we will use, again, like I said, how rusty and dirty are your frets from sitting around or from strings rusting on it. That gives you an idea. So with that said, we will go back to, after we fold this up, we'll take our, starting to run out of this feed and wax stuff. To give you an idea, this stuff for this size of a container, which is 16 fluid ounces, 1 US pint, I think it cost me about 20 bucks Canadian. But this bottle's like probably 4 years old. It's probably done about 25 fretboards. So, and you can see the wax in that. And of course it has a lovely orange oil scent to it. So I'll now take a good amount and start dolloping it all over the fingerboard. You want to be generous to get into all the frets. At the same time, you don't want to overly load it. You want to have a good enough amount on here to soak in. Not 100% sure what the fretboard wood is, but it definitely looks like it was dry. How well you can see that. Put the cap back on here just to give you an idea. There's the fretboard still dry. And you can see how much more kind of prettier it looks. oiled up more, so it says you should put this on for up to about 20 minutes, which is around the length of time that I usually do leave it on. Now, probably some of you are saying, but Terry, why did you shine the frets up and now you're going to ruin the shininess of the frets dress with putting the wax and such over them? Because wax does not affect steel, folks. Just a common fact. Wax will be a protectant in those instances. So I'm just trying to get some of the extra spots here that didn't get close to the frets. Which can happen especially when you get closer to the frets. So what time do we got? Oh, missing Charlie's show. Charlie and Seth's show. Sorry guys, but I got this going on. How about we mute this so you can still watch while we let this kind of dry and soak in. Wow, 39 minutes. So it appears to be sopping in pretty good. You can actually see how much darker the fretboard's got. God. Stuff saying about listening to Cher and riding a jet ski to uplift them. Oh my God. That's funny. So I think we've left it on long enough. Let's remove the excess and then polish it up. So while removing it, probably best to kind of work it into the wood further while polishing it. So again, just to kind of show there's still that little bit more kind of, there's still dirt on there that came off of the fret edges and whatnot and the fretboard. So we will put that there and we will get ourselves a new piece of Scotch towel or shop towel. Scotch/shop towel. Sometimes it actually is under the Scott's brand name, which weird. So now we will begin our final polish. I think this is a rosewood fretboard, if I remember correctly. Okay. Even on this, tiny little bit of crud coming off. So, far cam, and we will do the up close view. Looks much cleaner and better. So again, I still have to address the jack issue, which I'll do later, but for now, let's get to the Getting the strings on and back in place. So, interesting, I didn't notice that they got the product code on the front of the plastic. So, carefully slice it with our X-Acto knife. It's nice and sharp. Good show so far. Charles and Seth are doing. So, make sure all our strings are here. 9, 11, 16, 24, 32, and 42. So, despite what people say that you're supposed to do, you're supposed to take your string and when you do these locking Floyd Rose style systems, you're supposed to snip the ball end off. I don't believe in doing that. I believe in doing, I believe the technique that Ben Coombs has said, which is just basically running the ball through. And we start locking it into place. Once we get it down, so we'll get that. And of course we will do the S bend. And just put it up to tension. Oh God. Seth is going all over the place tonight. Paula Abdul, Cold Hearted Snake. Though I will admit, that was a good song. And again, careful placement into the block, making sure it's down and in. Snug. Go. It's getting to be longer than the first video. And again, spring 3. Snug. Snug, snug, snug. And lock it into position. And we're down to the last 3. That's an old school one. I want to be a cowboy. Seth's going down the early 80s. I'm waiting for him to mention Culture Club and Bananarama. Okay, well, this one went in bad, but it's locked in. So I will stop this probably once I get the remaining 2 strings in and shoot again for proper tuning and resetting the bridge back up, which will be interesting because I don't have the trim arm for it yet, so I'll have to preset it, which will probably be mostly for a diving level. And Seth, what guitar do you pick up when you're super happy? Telecaster. Which guitar do you pick up when you're super sad? Charles. Telecaster. That is why you have to be careful with this setup. Is when these don't lock in right. Hopefully it's now locked in. Okay. Quick adjustment. Again, this is going to go over 60 minutes, so we will get our last string in here, the cobalt. God. That's another thing as well too. A lot of people say about why you should go heavier strings on these is because they won't go in the trim lockers or string lockers very well. And quite honestly, it's a here nor there thing. Okay, that sucks. In this instance, it looks like we will have to clip the string because of me being a dodo. Didn't put the last string through. So, usually on the thinnest strings, I usually like to throw it through twice just to be sure. So we will do the twist and tap. Like running a lot of long string on a tuner peg, but it is what it is. Butt plug. With that said, I'm going to end the video here as it's over 65 minutes. With that said, folks, I shall be back with the string properly in place and moved on to the next thing. So, take care and stay tuned for video 3. Bye for now.